recognized for her 4-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Delegates, Elizabeth Holland George delegation. Delegates, imagine a modern-day Hunger Games with a twist. When a contestant of the federal lottery emerges as victor, no, they have not defeated 23 other tributes. Against the odds, they have won the lottery and helped fund the USA Scholarship. My proposal is to create the National Lottery for Education to fund the Uplifting Students of America, or USA Scholarship. Legislation for this lottery will supersede all conflicting state laws. The USA Scholarship will be merit-based, available regardless of economic status. Students must graduate high school with a 3.0 GPA and maintain that GPA throughout college. The scholarship is available for 4 years to any accredited public college, may be taken out of state, and the amount will be the national tuition average. The Department of Education will operate the USA Scholarship Commission, and a commissioner will be appointed by the President. This commission will decide what type of lottery games and will be authorized to change eligibility requirements and award amounts in case of fund shortage. The commission is also authorized to work with and use procedures similar to state lotteries. The taxes on the winnings of the lottery will go back into the scholarship fund. Currently, the average cost of tuition is $21,447, and some are unable to afford this. If they decide to go, 2/3 of college seniors will graduate with an average debt of $25,250. This average could increase greatly in the future since Congress almost doubled interest rates on student loans. Also, 12% of people between the ages of 25 and 34 with only a high school education receive welfare. Less than 1% of college graduates do. Education is the most important weapon we have to help the future of our country economically. And as a bonus, someone will become very wealthy because of the lottery. So whether you find yourself getting your college education, playing the lottery to fund the USA Scholarship, or competing in any sort of Hunger Games, may the odds be ever in your favor. Thank you.
By her actions, the delegate has yielded the remainder of her time to the chair. The floor is now open for 4 minutes of non-debatable technical questions. The chair recognizes Pierce of North Carolina, Jackson, Ferries, McLaughlin, Gibson, Marveris, Canonico, Small.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Pierce, North Carolina. Are there any states that currently use a lottery for a scholarship that's similar to this?
Yes, the Georgia lottery does.
Gibson, Republic of Texas, where did you get the statistics mentioned in your justification?
Give me 1 second. According to the National Center for Education.
Thank you.
Ferris, will this scholarship only be eligible to one student?
No, I meant to clarify that. It's available to anyone who applies to a
Thank you. Next question, please.
Marveris Canonico from South Carolina. Delegate, is this going to affect the way the federal government regulates colleges' curriculum?
Could you repeat that?
Is this proposal going to affect the way the federal government is able to regulate colleges'
That's
curriculum?
debatable. Next question, please.
President Jackson, representing New Zealand. Is the 3.0 GPA standard proposal weighted or unweighted?
That will actually be left to the Scholarship Commission.
Small New Mexico. For states with anti-gambling laws, will they be required to participate in this?
Yes, this is supersedes state law.
President Law in Massachusetts. Is this extended to students who go to private universities or only public?
Only public.
Thank you.
The chair recognizes further non-debatable technical questions. Bulmer, Barreto, Smith, Sada, Merle, Reed, Ingram.
Thank you, Sir Chair. My name is Harrison Bulmer, and I am from Florida. Author, similarly to your state, Florida also holds a lottery for education. Would these lotteries continue, or would they be superseded?
They would continue.
Thank you.
How many students do you expect to receive the scholarship each year?
There's no cap, so anyone who meets the qualifications will be divided amongst them.
Ingram from Alabama, my question was already answered. Do you know that in the state of Florida that they have a
Delegate, please state your name and delegation.
Excuse me, Sir Chair. Thank you, Sir Chair. My name is Colin Smith, and I am from Florida. Do you know that in the state of Florida that they just amended the Bright Futures Scholarship, the similar kind of thing, because they didn't want to pay for students whose family could pay for college?
Next question, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is Berta from North Carolina. Are any essays going to be required in the application process, or is the 3.0 GPA the only requirement?
I've only listed the 3.0 GPA, but that additional requirements can be established by the scholarship.
Thank you.
Andrew Reed, Washington State Delegation. Thank you, Sir Chair. What is the average jackpot for a lottery?
It varies greatly whenever the winner is announced. I don't have average.
All right.
The chair recognizes further non-debatable technical questions. Bolin, Shirey, Rivera, Leon, Myers, Cahoon, Hill.
Shirey from Oklahoma. What is the average amount of high school students that graduate with a 3.0 or higher GPA?
I'm sorry, I don't have that statistic because I
Next,
called
please.
I'm unaware.
Camilo Rivera, District of Columbia. Will students have to pay to buy into this lottery, or is it free?
It's free for the students. No, this is based on the student's merit. Yes.
What is the meaning of some of the average person that buys the lottery tickets?
It just varies greatly.
The total time for non-debatable technical questions is now elapsed. The chair will now recognize the con-intent speaker from the floor, if such a speaker exists. The chair recognizes Mr. Childs of North Carolina. You are recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. Ian Childs, North Carolina. Now, while I applaud the intent of creating a federal lottery system in order to fund college education, I believe that this proposal oversteps the congressional bounds as outlined in the Constitution. Amendment 10 of our United States Constitution reads, "The powers not
Would you pardon me,
delegated..."
Delegate? You may proceed.
Thank you. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Now, I've read the Constitution multiple times. It never says that the United States federal government has the right to create a lottery in every state throughout the nation. That is a right that is reserved for the states. And this is the first of my two major gripes with this proposal. My second is that in North Carolina, we have an education lottery, and it has made over $171 million in the last 3 years of operation. Now, our education system has only seen around $4 or $5 million of that money. The rest has disappeared. And so I do not believe that the government can enact legislation like this to fund for people's college education without overstepping their bounds of the Constitution or doing it correctly. So thank you, and I would like to yield the remainder of my time to the chair.
The delegate yields his time to the chair. The chair will now seek the pro-intent speaker from the floor. The chair recognizes the delegate Arnold from Tennessee. Delegate, you have 2 minutes.
Jennifer Arnold, Tennessee. Thank you, Sir Chair. I strongly agree with this proposal. Tennessee, like Georgia and Florida, has the Hope Scholarship, awarded to Tennessee students who meet certain standards and attend only Tennessee schools for college. Unfortunately, the Hope Scholarship is running out of money to award scholarships to the increasing number of students who meet the standards. This tells us several things: that a scholarship incentive works in raising the standards for our nation's students, but also that there are several flaws in the system. However, this proposal addresses those problems. First is the fact that the Tennessee Scholarship Fund is running out of money as more students become eligible. But the USA Scholarship would adjust its rewards to ensure that this did not happen, as it says in lines 35 through 38. The second issue is that the Tennessee scholarship may then only be utilized at Tennessee colleges. However, I'm going to the University of Michigan next year, whose tuition is $50 grand, and I could use any help that I get in paying that off, as they do not give out merit scholarships. In a time when America needs to step up its educational competitiveness and college costs are increasing to astronomical prices, the USA Scholarship is a creative and effective solution, and I urge passage. Thank you.
By her actions, the delegate has yielded her time to the chair. The chair will now seek the first con speaker. The delegate Swab of Minnesota.
Minnesota. Lotteries and scholarships that states put forward exist to help students who really don't come from the best socioeconomic background. This does not help out anyone who's below the poverty line, and all it does is help out people who are lucky. That is inherently wrong. I do not agree with this because it's just not what we need. What we need is something that addresses merit and people who need it to break out of the poverty cycle. People who break out of the poverty cycle do wonderful things for America. All this does is that you need to get 3.0 GPA and be lucky. That is unacceptable. I encourage you to vote this down. I yield my time to the chair.
The delegate yields his time to the chair. The chair now seeks the next pro speaker. The chair recognizes Mr. Jackson of Alabama.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jackson, family of Alabama. May I reserve my right to yield the remainder of my time to the author's closing speech?
You have that right.
All right. College. It's something that you and I, as students, we all strive for. All of us in this room want to go to college in some way or fashion, and for us, it's the pinnacle of higher education. It's all where we all want to go. However, college is becoming increasingly more expensive and harder to reach. It's harder to get into colleges, and not only that, but it's harder to pay for colleges. And I'm not talking about private institutions. I'm talking about public institutions. It's getting very, very expensive. If you look at the evidence cited in this proposal, you will see that the average student graduating from a public university is in about $25,000 worth of debt. This is a crazy amount of money, and simply it is not acceptable, and it limits a large number of people who would otherwise be attending these universities. I stand in strong favor of this proposal for a number of reasons, and my favorite reason is that this works. We've seen it work. It's not a totally new idea. It's not something coming out of the blue. We've seen it work. Look at Georgia, for example, where the Hope Scholarship exists. Over 900,000 students have already benefited from the Hope Scholarship, with over $3 billion worth of scholarship benefits being delivered in just Georgia alone. Think about what we could do if we could initiate this across the country, the benefits this would have for public education. Education is the most important resource we have, and we need to continue to fuel it, and I think this proposal is an excellent way to do so. With that, I yield the remainder of my time to the author's closing summation.
The delegate yields 27 seconds to the author's closing summation. Amendments are now in order on the floor to be filed at the parliamentarian's desk only. The chair will now recognize the next con speaker. The delegate Black of Alabama.
Benjamin Black, the family of Alabama. I would like to address one key concern that I have with this proposal, though I think it's a wonderful idea to be able to help pay for some students who want to go to college to go to college. I think this does two things wrong. One thing, it doesn't have a way for states that have laws against gambling to opt out of the benefits as well as the lottery itself. I think that's very important to remain constitutional. Without that, it is unconstitutional and it cannot become actual law. Another thing I have is this helps perpetuate this conception that we have now that everyone has to go to college, that everyone needs to go to college, that if you don't get a college education, you can't make something out of yourself. And that, I believe, is a very dangerous thing that we're starting to fall into believing now. And so with that, I want you to vote down this proposal. Thank you.
By his actions, the delegate has yielded his time to the chair. The chair will now seek the next pro speaker on the floor, if such a speaker exists. The chair recognizes the delegate Bunnell of California.
Mr. Chair, Honor Bunnell of the California delegation. This is a very well thought out proposal. It covers every area that the delegate is to in order for it to be a fully functional bill. Proposal. Now, a previous speaker mentioned that this would violate the 10th Amendment. I've heard this argument countless times on countless bills, and I have not heard the counter-argument. I have 4 words: necessary and proper clause. This clause is the clause that has allowed the federal government to institute laws that cover the entire nation. These laws include such things as they were sent to, for example, the building of our national highway system. And without this clause, it is very likely that a lot of the laws that have allowed us to connect more as a nation and to produce commerce and communicate across state lines would not have been possible if the necessary commerce clause were not in effect. And the USA Scholarship in itself gives a chance to build on the author's Hunger Games metaphor, give the District 12 students of the USA a better chance at getting to college and receiving the education they need to pursue their dreams and aspire to their goals in life. Thank you. I yield my time to the chair.
The delegate yields his time. The chair now seeks the next con speaker on the floor. The delegate Shorten of Tennessee. Delegate, your time has begun.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Nicholas Shorten, Tennessee. Will the patron yield to a series of questions and now reserve my right to yield time to Fitz?
Yes, that is your right. Delegate or author, you yield to a series of questions.
I will. How much will this cost?
Nothing.
Yield my time.
Will Fitz, Tennessee, the volunteer state. Does the delegate yield to a possible series of questions?
Does the author yield?
Okay, so some states in their constitutions do not allow gambling, including lotteries. What about these states?
Legislation is federal legislation will supersede all state.
Okay, so that means that you're going to amend all the states' constitutions then. Okay. And then how much money are you expecting to bring in with this lottery?
As the lottery ages, it will eventually get more money, but as you think about it, there's 300 million people, 300 million, that might be incorrect. The amount of people in the United States, as they learn about the lottery and buy more tickets and multiple tickets than you can imagine. Just as a statistic, the Georgia Lottery has given away $13.4 billion in scholarships.
Thank you. Fellow delegates.
Properly display your placard.
Yes. Fellow delegates, as one of my previous delegates stated, in Tennessee we do have the Hope Scholarship. The problem, I really like the Hope Scholarship. It's giving me $5,000 to attend college next year. But the thing is, the Hope Scholarship is not working. It has the exact same merits as this, 3.0. But the thing is that the state of Tennessee was losing money, losing lots of money. So this year they had to bring up the standards. And so this is why I oppose this bill. I yield the rest of my time to the chair.
The delegate yields his time. This is a friendly reminder that proposals are referred to as proposals and not bills. The chair seeks the next pro speaker from the floor. The delegate Lewis of New Mexico. Delegate, your time has begun.
Ted Lewis of New Mexico, and I would like to reserve my right to yield any remaining time to
Delegate Cobb of Kentucky.
That is your right.
Let me put this in a new light. We've been focusing on the education, but this is also a great way to make amends for a bad thing in our country, gambling. Yes, this lottery will be helping, but gambling is bad. This way we can take something that is ruining lives, that is causing utter devastation, and make it a good thing. We will be able to send those who couldn't otherwise go to college, who would be forced to live in horrible conditions because they can't get college, they can't get a job. So we are making amends for the wrongs that we are allowing. We are fixing what we break and making it better. We are updating on everything. We are possessing the skills now with this proposal to be able to make America a better and brighter place for our youth. Thank you. And with that, I yield any remaining time to Delegate Cobb.
Delegate, please remain at the podium while your yielded speaker speaks.
Amelia Call, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Sir Chair. I'd like to start off saying I strongly urge the passage of this proposal just to show how difficult it is nowadays to pay off college loans. I have these facts that prove college students are having problems paying off their debt. The average number of credit cards for undergraduates is 4.6 credit cards per student. Imagine having more than 4 credit cards trying to pay off your debt. Whereas credit cards don't even pay off your debt, they put you in a greater debt. And also, students who graduate with a PhD borrow 35.4% of their money they need to get through school, and they graduate in about $45,000 in debt. That is a lot of debt to just keep getting. That is a lot of debt to have to just
Thank you,
keep
Delegate. Your
graduating.
time has elapsed. The chair will now recognize the final con-speaker on this proposal. The chair recognizes Mr. McLaughlin of Massachusetts.
Thank you, through you, Sir Chair, Joseph McLaughlin of the state of Massachusetts. I'd like to make an amendment.
Parliamentarian has an amendment been filed at the desk. McLaughlin, offer. Is the amendment germane? The amendment reads, on line 28, amend, quote, public college, end quote, to, quote, public or private college, end quote. Is there anyone who would like the amendment repeated? Thank you. Is there a second to hear this amendment?
Second.
All right, we will now proceed to vote on the motion to hear the amendment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. This motion fails. The delegate yields his time. Seeing as the speaker did not speak the con motive, we shall now proceed to hear the final con speaker on this proposal. The chair recognizes Mr. Hill of Kentucky.
Mason Hill, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you, Sir Chairperson.
Delegate, please display your placard.
Mason Hill, Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you, Sir Chairperson. I reserve my right to speak, but I'd like to yield any remaining time to Delegate Reigns of Virginia.
You have that right.
Thank you. My fellow delegates, while the goal of this proposal is admirable, the method is flawed. Lotteries are a regressive way of raising revenue because they do not take from rich people. Lotteries generally prey upon the poor people. Rich people simply do not buy lottery tickets because there really isn't reason to buy a lottery ticket if you're rich. So essentially what this proposal is doing is it's taking money from people who aren't really in a position to be giving the money and then making it for non-need-based aid, which seems a little bit fishy as far as the financing goes. Furthermore, several states have already implemented this, and this is a state's issue not simply because of the letter of the Constitution, but because gambling is a very different thing in every different state. Gambling is successful in Nevada because of the culture of that state. However, in states such as Kentucky, it has done little to address financing issues with the public sphere. With that, I would like to yield my remaining time to Delegate Reigns of Virginia.
The delegate yields 51 seconds.
Andrew Reigns, Commonwealth of Virginia. Will the author yield to a series of questions?
Does the author yield?
Because people can't buy a lottery ticket until they're 18, is this fair to students who have to pay for their first and or more years of college before they are 18? Yes. How is this fair to students who are under the age of 18 because they cannot buy a lottery ticket?
although I don't feel this is pertinent to my proposal, the students are only benefiting from this. I don't exactly know how to answer the question.
Okay, my point is, this program is through the lottery, and by definition, you have to be at least 18 to participate in the lottery. And because of that fact, anyone who's below the age of 18 entering college, as one of my best friends, she's unable to benefit.
Thank you, Delegate. Your time has elapsed. Total time for Con-Pro debate has elapsed on this proposal. We will now proceed to hear the author's 2-minute and 27-second summation. Thank you. Author, you may proceed when ready.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Elizabeth Holland, Georgia delegation. I just want to address a few things real quickly. As far as the state's rights goes, the government does several programs, as the previous delegate has already stated. Taxes, for instance, the interstate, for instance, and that is justified in necessary and proper costs. A program that the federal government does for states is FAFSA. That's a student program. You apply to get it through the federal government, and it's given to you in your individual state. Also, another issue. This proposal is based on the student's merit. This is not based on how much money your parents make. I did not see your parents sitting in that classroom, studying every night, taking every test to earn that 4.0 or 3.0 GPA. That was you. Also, this proposal can be taken across state boundaries, which differs from state lotteries. For instance, if you would get a better degree out of state than in state, you can take the scholarship with you and help your obscene out of state tuition rates. Also, this is not, I'm not saying you have to use this to go to college. This is just an option for everyone who does want to go, who does want to further their education. And as far as the state that this program did not succeed, perhaps the state was mismanaging these funds, not the lottery. In my home state of Georgia, we have hope, literally and figuratively. We have the hope that we will be able to afford college through the Hope Scholarship, successfully funded for 2 decades by the Georgia Lottery. I just went through the application and award process, and I will be attending the University of Georgia with all of my tuition paid for by Hope. The Council on School Performance released a study which found that recipients of Georgia's Hope Scholarships are more likely to remain enrolled in college, have higher college GPAs, and have earned more credit hours than students without the scholarship. College graduates on average will earn $26,000 more per year and $1.3 million more over a lifetime. Supporting the federal lottery for education and the USA Scholarship is supporting your friends, your family, thousands of students across the country, and yourself. It is agreeing that you should be given the opportunity to attend college and graduate without a huge overhead debt, so that your success in the future will not only be based on the odds being in your favor, but by every American student having an opportunity to achieve their success in hard work through an affordable college education. And I encourage you to vote this proposal in my favor. And with that,
The delegate yields her time to the chair. We shall now proceed to vote on proposal number 286. All those in favor of proposal number 286, please stand and say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please stand and say nay.